Hi, I'm Mrs. Kessers from Walsh Jesuit High School, and this section is on polynomials. Alright, so first, addition and subtraction of polynomials. What you want to do is get together all of your like terms and add those together. So, for example, if we have the polynomial of 5x squared minus 4x plus 3, and you want to add 9x minus 4x minus 7, all you do is collect your like terms. So you want to put together your 5x squared and your 9x squared. So that's going to give me 14x squared. Then we have a negative 4x minus 4x, which is going to give me negative 8x. Then finally you have your constants of 3 minus 7 will give me negative 4. Alright, now when you're subtracting, the only thing I really want you to focus on is taking this negative sign and distributing it to all of these numbers behind it. And just rewrite it or change all the signs. So really we have 3x squared minus x minus 8 minus 5x squared minus 2x then plus 6. Because you want to change all of these signs. Then just add your like terms. So we've got 3x squared minus 5x squared, which is going to give me negative 2x squared. Then we have negative x, which is like negative 1x, minus 2x, which is going to give me negative 3x. Then we have negative 8 plus 6, which gives me negative 2. So then my final answer is negative 2x squared minus 3x minus 2. The main thing that you really need to focus on is making sure that you distribute this negative sign, so you change all the signs and you're adding and subtracting the right numbers together. Alright, let's go ahead and look at multiplying. So now if we're multiplying, okay, I have a lot of different examples with this. For an example, we have a monomial times a trinomial. So we have 2x cubed and then times 5x squared minus 6x plus 7. So you distribute this whole entire 2x cubed to all of these. So you want to multiply your coefficients out in front, and then you want to add the exponents if they have the same base. So 2 times 5 is going to give me 10. X cubed times x squared gives me x to the 5th. Then I have 2x cubed times negative 6x. 2 times negative 6 gives me negative 12. X cubed times x to the 1st is going to give me x to the 4th. Then finally I have 2x cubed times 7, which is just going to give me a positive 14x cubed. Alright, let's go ahead and look at when you're multiplying two binomials. X plus 7 times x minus 2. Now you want to use FOIL, okay? That means they have first, outside, inside, last. That's what you want to do with these. So your first are your x's. So x times x gives me x squared. So that's your first. Then you have your outsides. X times negative 2. That's where the O is. Your outsides. So you have negative 2x. Then you have your insides, which is the I. 7 times x gives me a positive 7x. Then you have your last, which is 7 times negative 2, which is going to give me negative 14. Then add these two middle terms together. So you have x squared plus 5x minus 14 is the answer when you multiply. Alright, now let's see if you have a binomial times a trinomial. So you can't really use FOIL because you're going to be missing a term. You can only use FOIL when you have something with 2 multiplied by something with 2, which is your binomials. Binomial times binomial. So instead what you want to do is think about taking this 2x and distributing it to every single one of these. So you're going to get 2x times 2y is 4xy. Then 2x times negative 5z gives me negative 10xz. 2x times 3 gives me a positive 6x. Alright, now what you want to do then is take this negative 6 and distribute it to all of these also. So negative 6 times 2y gives me negative 12y. Negative 6 times negative 5z gives me positive 30z. Then finally, negative 6 times 3 gives me a negative 18. Now you want to look and see, can you combine any like terms? We have an xy, an xz, an x, a y, and a z, and then a constant. You cannot combine any of those terms, so this whole big long polynomial right there is going to be your answer. Alright, let's go ahead and move on to this last example. We have x minus 3y quantity squared. All right, so what you do not want to take this square and move it to both of those. You cannot do that because of this minus sign right here. If it was a plus sign, you still can do it. But if you think about it, if you have x squared, another way that you can write that is x times x. So if we have x minus 3y, the quantity squared, then what you want to do is write this as x minus 3y times x minus 3y. Then we want to use FOIL. So x times x gives me x squared. X times negative 3y gives me negative 3xy. Negative 3y times x gives me negative 3xy. Negative 3 times y times negative 3y gives me a positive 9y squared. Now combine your two like terms that are in the middle. Even if one was xy and the other one was yx, that's okay because with multiplication you can have it in any order. So when we add these together, you have x squared minus 6xy plus 9y squared. So this is my final answer. And that's why you can't just take that squared and multiply it by both, or distribute it, because you're going to be missing this middle term. All right, let's go ahead and look at dividing polynomials by binomials. So now what you want to do is we've got 9a to the 4th minus 12a squared all over 3a. Okay, what you want to do is take this and you want to split it up. And I want you to write this as 9a squared, or a to the 4th, I apologize, a to the 4th over 3a, then minus 12a squared over 3a. You want to split these up, okay? Because you cannot just take this 3a and cancel it out of one of them. You have to cancel it out of both of them. All right, so 9a to the 4th over 3a. 9 divided by 3 gives me 3. a to the 4th over a gives me a to the 3rd on top. Then minus 12 divided by 3 gives me 4. A squared over a just gives me a to the 1st on top. Now we cannot combine these anymore because they are not like terms, since you have two bases that are the same but your exponents are different. So you cannot combine those. All right, let's go ahead and try this last example here. So again, what you want to do is take this denominator and split it up among all of them. So you really have 32xy to the 4th over negative 8xy squared. Then you've got minus 48x squared y to the 5th all over negative 8xy squared. Then plus 64x cubed y squared all over negative 8xy squared. All right, let's go ahead and look at this first one. All right, so you've got 32 divided by 8, or negative 8 I should say. 32 divided by negative 8 gives me a negative 4. X over x, these guys cancel. Y to the 4th over y squared gives me y squared on top. Now you have negative 48 over negative 8. That gives me a positive 6. X squared over x leaves me with x to the 1st on top. Y to the 5th over y squared leaves me with y to the 3rd on top. Then finally our last one. 64 divided by negative 8 gives me negative 8 on top. X cubed over x gives me x squared on top because you subtract those exponents. Y squared over y squared, these guys cancel completely. So my final answer is negative 4y squared plus 6xy cubed minus 8x squared. You do not have the same number of the same exponent with each of the variables in any of these, so you do not have like terms, so you cannot combine. And this is your final answer. All right, that's it for today. So if you have any questions, make sure you stop in the math office or email me at kesterse@walshjessuit.org. I'll see you in class.